Hello friends, this video on conservation of plants and animals part 13 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Question number 4. What will happen if we go on cutting trees? That is basically deforestation. Some of the effects would be loss of species because they will lose their shelter and also they will lack food. Soil erosion because the roots of the plant hold the soil tightly. Now there is nothing to hold the soil, so the soil will get carried away by water. Increased carbon dioxide concentration because plants utilized carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. Now there is nobody to utilize carbon dioxide. Lowered groundwater level. Here also the water retaining capacity of the soil will reduce if plants are cut. Therefore the groundwater level will reduce. The entire forest ecosystem will get spoiled because when the plants are not there, other animals living in the forest will also face difficulty. Possibility of flood increases, possibility of drought increases. Why these increases? This we know because water holding capacity of the soil reduces, water holding capacity decreases. And why the possibility of drought increases? That's because plants also contribute. So the contribution of moisture decreases because plants used to release some water into the atmosphere by the process of transpiration. But now when the plants are not there, so the contribution of moisture into the atmosphere decreases. Now less moisture in the atmosphere would mean less clouds, would mean less rainfall. That is possibility of drought. So these are some of the adverse effects of cutting down trees. What will happen if the habitat of an animal is disturbed? So if an animal's home is disturbed, the animal might become extinct because if they are already lesser in number, so their number will reduce all the more, they can even become lost. The top layer of soil is exposed. If the top layer is exposed, it can get very easily carried away by water. So the soil fertility will be reduced because the top layer contains humus which gives fertility to the soil. So the fertility will be reduced, and if soil fertility is reduced, then the crop productivity will also be reduced. Answer in brief. Why should we conserve biodiversity? Now these we have already discussed, but a quick recap. First of all, because it gives us a better environment, it gives us more stable biological community, because when you have a large variety of organisms, so obviously there are more organisms one particular organism can depend upon. So the stability of the entire community increases. Increased diversity results in increased productivity because each group of organism is going to produce something. So the net productivity is going to increase. Ensures sustenance of all life forms because as we saw in the food chain that different organisms depend on other organisms for their food. So when you have more variety of organisms, so your options for dependence also increases. So that way it helps in better sustenance of different life forms. Protected forests are also not completely safe for wild animals. Why? That's because even if the forests are protected, but still there is human interference, but still human beings enter inside the forest due to meet their own needs for their interest. They cut down forest, and that's how they become unsafe for wild animals. Some tribal depend on the jungle. How? Now, some tribal people who are a part of, for example, the biosphere reserves. So they utilize jungle in a number of ways. For example, they obtain their wood from jungle which is used as a fuel for cooking purposes. They also use various plant parts for medicinal purposes. Like some plant parts are used as, they act as good antibiotics. Some plant parts have some other benefit. They also use various plant parts as source of food like fruits or vegetables, so they can be used as a source of food. What are the causes and consequences of deforestation? Causes, some of the important causes are overpopulation. Due to increasing population, the needs are increasing. Therefore, to meet the needs, forests are being cut down. Agriculture, human settlements, these are some of the needs which arises due to overpopulation. Human settlement, making furnitures, fuel, industrial setup, forest fire. So forest fire could be a natural cause also. It is not necessary that it has to be a human activity. Sometimes when the temperature becomes very high, there are chances that the forest might catch fires. And consequences, we have discussed it quite a number of times. Loss of species because they lose habitat, soil erosion, increased concentration of carbon dioxide. This in turn will lead to global warming over a longer period of time. Lowered groundwater level, forest ecosystem will be spoiled, flood will increase, drought will also increase. What is Red Data Book? So it is a book which has the lists of all the endangered species. Now, why is it important to list down all the endangered species? So that we can save them from being extinct. Because these species, if they are not taken proper care, they might become lost, they might become extinct. So it is very important to keep a list of all the endangered species so that special attention can be given to them. So this book was first released in the year 1963. What do you understand by the term migration? Migration is nothing but movement from one place to another. So there are some animals which move from one place to another seasonally. That means only during unfavorable conditions. So wherever they stay in one season, whenever the environment or climate becomes very unfavorable, they move to some other place due to the climatic changes. So they move to a favorable place in search of food and shelter, because where they were staying so far, that place become unfavorable for their survival. Now, migratory birds are very common. Question number 7. How can you contribute to the maintenance of green wealth of your locality? Make a list of actions to be taken by you. What do you mean by green wealth? Green wealth is nothing but green trees and plants all around in your locality. So what can you do? Plant more trees so that you have more green wealth, you have more trees. Stop cutting down trees. So whichever trees already exist in your locality, take care of them and do not cut them. So that way you are just adding to the number of trees. Spread awareness among planting more and more trees. So it is not only you who has to do this, even everybody has to participate in this process of reforestation, so that whatever deforestation we have done in the last 100 years, at least we can compensate some part of it. We already saw, right, the percentage of forest area has reduced from 30% to 19% in 100 years. So we need to compensate that. So for that we have to plant more and more trees. So you plant trees and you also tell others to plant trees and stop cutting down trees. Question number 8. Explain how deforestation leads to reduced rainfall. So rainfall happens. How this happens? It happens due to precipitation. So the clouds which remain there on the sky, so these clouds only fall on the surface of the earth as rainfall. Now, green plants, how do they help in the formation of clouds? They also add some moisture, some water to the atmosphere by the process of transpiration. Now, there are small openings on the leaves of plants called stomata, and through these stomata, water is released to the atmosphere. So that's how green plants contribute to moisture in the atmosphere. Now, when green plants are all cut during deforestation, the number of green plants reduces. Therefore, the amount of moisture in the atmosphere also reduces, because those who were contributing to moisture, they are no more there. So the moisture content will also reduce. So therefore, the clouds will reduce and therefore the rainfall will be reduced. So this is how deforestation can cause less rainfall. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more educational videos with a better experience. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for latest updates. Thank you once again.